My dear friends. Wow, you're all very obliging. Thank you so very much for that. My name is Solitaire Townsend. You'll hear a little bit more from me in a moment, but thank you so very much for taking your seats. And we have a little treat to start this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Sam Lee.
Old practice at any event or gathering to open up with a song. It's part of the ceremony. And this is a very old song. It's an old song come new, and it's a British folk song written into the tradition about the land and our relationship with her and them. And that's how we're here in many ways that we relate to, steward, care for, protect, reveal, and support that relationship between us and the land. This is a song about one of our oldest forms of practice and relationship building, which is pilgrimage, which is very important in a place like this to recognise that the lure of land to take us places and what we seek in the way of healing of ourselves, but also the healing of the land, which I think is woven through this evening and what brings us all together. This is a song that originates from Yorkshire. I'm going to ask if you would like to join me. Imagine this, would you like to play the role of the land? That's a better ask, isn't it? It's very simple, and it just involves some humming. Can we do that? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to choose any one. And you're going to be my orchestra, and you're going to play the part of the land as we sing for them. So, this is called Green Mossy Banks. It goes like this. You just have to keep that note running, or if you want to go, sit down your eyes, sit down if you want to be mountains, your bodies. When the land whispers, don't be a stranger, that irresistible call to come home, to the wandering swear allegiance, renew an old contract to roam. And I felt in my heart a great yearning, leave a life so beholden to time. So I packed up my promise to face the uncertain, to attend to lost loves and landlines. 7 miles I will walk so uncertain, 7 miles I will walk in delight, 7 miles inconsolable morning, 7 more unquestionably right. Some miles my heart will be empty, some miles I will rage and I'll cry, some miles I will crawl like a motherless baby, but the last mile I will take to the sky. And let journeys outshine destinations, intuition not blessing our fears. Let blessed be teachers Be witnessed by what cannot be seen. Be peregrine, be pastor, be tiny, be master, be as soft as green moss, and be free.
For the evening, Solitaire
Wow.
Townsend.
Solitaire Townsend, there we go. Sam, thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. What a voice. I'm a bit embarrassed by mine now up here after such a beautiful, beautiful opening. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good evening to everyone and welcome to the 2023 Ashden Awards. So, my name is Solitaire and I'm not the usual professional type presenter that the Ashtons used before. I work in this. I work in this sector. I love it. I love the people who come here. I love everybody in the room, so please call me Solly. There we go. Now, we're here at the RGS, and also there's lots of folks online, so welcome to those of you who are online. I think the camera's there, so hi. And I know that many former winners who have been up here on this stage are watching and are celebrating online from home, so thank you so very much for joining us. Now, I've got a little script in front of me that I'm going to follow to the letter, apart from right now. Because Sam's song made me feel a little bit emotional. And I've got a secret to share with you, which is about 2 decades ago, I came to my first ever Ashden Awards. Now, I'd only recently, maybe reasonably recently, done a master's degree in sustainability. And like many people who were come across sustainability, social injustice, climate change for the first time, I was really overwhelmed and was quite struggling. I was struggling with how I felt about myself, how I felt about the world, these horrors and challenges that just didn't feel like that they had any answers. And I sat there somewhere towards the back, and during the evening, whilst these incredible, wonderful stories unfolded up here on the stage, I sobbed, literally cried. I was really embarrassed about it. I was trying to cry quite quietly. And, I was early in my career and I was here to do a little bit of networking. And as the light came up, I realised I had mascara all down my face and that I sort of was trying to wipe it off before going into the networking room. Now, a couple of years later, I met Sarah Butler-Sloss and just spurted out. I cried the first time that I came, and I've cried every year since. And rather than laughing at me, she made me a trustee. So just be warned. If you get a bit over-emotional, Ashden will seek you out and make you part of what they do. But the reason why I was getting so emotional isn't just because of the practical, impactful solutions that we see up here on this stage. It's because these were stories. And they were incredible stories, because stories are always about people. They're always about characters, human beings who are working together, overcoming the odds, going into unusual partnerships, and doing incredible things. And the stories, the storytelling up on this stage is just one of the most powerful parts of the whole movement of which we all belong, and one of my most favourite evenings of the year. So, I'm about to get started with our awards, but if later on you see like my mascara smudging, just sort of pretend that I'm a professional and it's all okay. Tonight, I've got to get through without crying 9 fantastic climate champions, the winners of the 2023 awards. They have been selected by literally hundreds of applications from here in the UK and around the world by a panel of expert judges, many of whom I see in the audience tonight. But before we actually take a look at the winners themselves, it's my absolute pleasure to ask Ashton's new CEO, Ashok Sinha, to come up here. Now, Ashok joins us here at Ashden after 10 years at the helm of the London Cycling Campaign, and he's going to share a couple of words of what he's got planned for Ashden in this extraordinary moment of time that we're in. Ashok, will you come and join me?
Thank you so much, Solly. Sam, that was beautiful. I think we just don't sing enough. I used to sing when I was a kid. I was a choir boy. But I think the last time I sang a song with other people was on the football terraces. So, we need to change that. Maybe an Ashden choir. What do you think? An Ashden choir. Okay, that'll be doing something. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, it is, as Solly says, I am new to Ashden. It's almost 5 months to the day since I joined the team as Ashden's new CEO, which actually means I'm still within my probationary period. And so I better be on best behaviour this evening. But more seriously, I think this is the right time for me to pay tribute to my predecessor, Harriet Lamb. I think he's in the audience somewhere. You wave. I can't see you for the lights. Anyway. Harriet's tenacity and energy took the organisation from strength to strength. And I'd also like to pay tribute to our chair and founder, Sarah Butler-Sloss, who... Not just because her vision and determination is still so valuable to the organisation more than 20 years after you founded it, but you chose me. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay. And also, our wonderful staff team. You have been so warmly welcoming to me since I first joined the organisation. And I feel very, very privileged and humbled to be standing in front of you today. So, friends, a long time ago, and I'm talking about a very, very long time ago, when I was a PhD student, I came across something truly fabulous. It was 45 metres high with a rotor span of 60 metres in Orkney. It was a 3 megawatt wind turbine. At the time, by far and away, the biggest grid-connected wind turbine in the world. And I was so excited. I thought, we are right on the cusp in the UK of creating a world-class renewable wind energy industry. But alas, that didn't happen at that time. Because belief in renewables, understanding of the climate emergency, appreciation of the transformative power of the green economy just wasn't strong enough. Well, since then, things have changed a heck of a lot, thank goodness. There is now widespread acceptance that the twin climate and ecological emergencies threaten civilization, but conversely, a rapid and just transition to a green economy is the best way to safeguard humanity's future, as well as create a fair and happier world. Great. However, we've seen recently our own government here in the UK open up a new climate battlefront in the culture wars, playing to the politics of division when the politics of consensus and collaboration and partnership is what has got us so far and what we'll need more of in the future. And internationally, we are failing to deliver the $100 billion per annum minimum that we owe and have long promised to the Global South for clean energy access and to help the poorest and most vulnerable communities who are least responsible for global heating and who are being hit first and hardest to adapt. So thank goodness then for the innovators like the people who are going to be coming up on this stage today to win Ashden Awards. They are not waiting for government action. They are not waiting for international agreements. They are forging ahead, powering up refugee camps, connecting businesses to clean energy, regenerating rainforests, employing people, improving people's lives and livelihoods. They are building a better world, community by community, day by day. They are true pioneers, heroes of the new green economy, and we are here today to pay tribute to them and everything that they have achieved. Thank you. But make no mistake, We need these innovations to scale. We need them to be replicated. We need them to become the norm, and that will require systems change. Very important national, regional, and local elections are going to happen here in the UK soon. Internationally, critical dialogues are occurring and will occur as part of the Paris process. That is why Ashden will redouble our efforts to take the great example of our award winners and also the schools that are part of our Let's Go Zero campaign, the communities and local authorities we work with in our Towns and Cities programme to inspire transformative policy change and help catalyse revolutionary support and financing for climate solutions in the Global South. So that's all for the future. But for tonight is about fun, for celebration, to celebrate the winners in this year's Ashden Awards. And tomorrow, when nominations open for next year's Ashden Awards, if you know anybody who should be on this stage in 6 months' time, not 12, 6, because next year the awards will be a showcase event in the middle of London Climate Action Week, then please send them to our website where they can find out more about how to apply. Okay, so finally, thank you all for being with us here today. To celebrate the winners, to be our esteemed guests for the evening, I really hope you have a fabulous, fabulous time. And back to you, Sally.
Well, I think I can say with a lot of confidence that Ashden most definitely has the energy needed for Ashden. That was a lot of renewable energy we're getting there. And one of the things which I really want to reflect on is that word of celebration, because we don't celebrate anywhere near enough what we've been able to achieve, and we don't stop and acknowledge what has been done, because when the problem is as big as we're facing, sometimes I think we feel like we don't have the right to. But tonight is about making that acknowledgement. And one of the areas which I'm so pleased that Ashden acknowledges is natural climate solutions, because nature plays such a key role in all of the challenges that we face. And tonight we have 3 outstanding examples to show you. So forests, fields, waterways, vital defences against climate change. They protect and restore, and they also, as we know, bring our communities together and our economies. And it's not on my script, but also our soul and our heart, which I think that Sam showed us earlier. So the trio of winners that we're about to look at do exactly that. So we have 2 from the UK and 1 from Cameroon, which is where we're going to start the evening. I'm so excited. Our first award is the Ashden Award for Natural Climate Solutions, supported by the Department of Energy Security and Net Zero. The winner uses their hive mind to stop the destruction of the rainforests. It's Seraph Nord from northern Cameroon. Let's take a look at what they do.
Can bees save trees in Cameroon? Benue National Park in the northern part of Cameroon is a conflict-stricken region that is also battling with the effects of poverty, human migration and climate change. 48% of the region is classified as a protected area due to its unique climate, and urgent action is needed to tackle these complex challenges. Seraph Noor worked closely with local people to restore the land and earn a living in sustainable ways. The park's forests have been badly damaged by deforestation, and this support enables local people to be part of the solution, planting trees, improving soil health, and producing valuable crops and products like shea butter, cashew nuts, and honey.
Alors, notre intervention depuis 2016 a concouru à sensibiliser les communautés à respecter les zones appelées aires protégées. Nous avons également sensibilisé ces communautés à replanter les essences qu'ils avaient exploitées pour du charbon de bois. À ce jour, nous pouvons estimer les superficies reboisées à plus de 5000 hectares et nous ne pouvons qu'être satisfaits au vu de l'engouement que nous ne cessons de susciter auprès des communautés.
Bien, maintenant, vraiment, ma vie est transformée catégoriquement. Vu qu'avant, moi, j'ai parti chasser en brousse. Il y avait des risques. Il y a l'inondation et même les enlèvements. L'avenue de ce projet Bionat m'a beaucoup aidé. Quand moi je partais même en brousse, j'ai campé presque une semaine. La venue de ce projet m'a beaucoup soulagé. Maintenant je peux vous dire même, je ne pars plus chasser.
Alors nous avons bénéficié auprès de CERAF beaucoup de projets. En plus de ça, nos jeunes ont, n'est-ce pas, bénéficié de formations. Et nous avons aussi fait avec le CERAF Nord l'élevage du miel, où nous avons, n'est-ce pas, obtenu des ruches. Et aujourd'hui, nous avons déjà commencé à recueillir le miel et nous l'avons déjà placé au marché. Ce qui me rend le plus fier, c'est voir les communautés engagées dans de nouvelles techniques sylvicoles, de nouvelles techniques agricoles et très éloignées des pratiques de braconnage et de carbonisation excessive. Les pépinières sont gérées par des anciens abatteurs d'arbres qui se plaisaient à fabriquer du charbon et à revendre. Aujourd'hui, ils sont conscients que sans ces arbres, on avance fortement vers le désert. Et ils sont engagés pour planter et suivre les espaces plantés.
On ne peut pas oublier nos petits-fils et nos fils et nos petits-fils. Donc on veut reboiser, renforcer même la forêt avec le plan qu'on est en train de mettre sur place. Je lance un message à tous les Camerounais de garder l'arbre à garder comme l'œil. C'est un message que moi je vais dire à tous les jeunes Camerounais.
Wow. Okay. I'm already welling up. This isn't going to go well. So, to hand out the award, please welcome Kate Darwin from the Department of Energy Security and Net Zero here in the UK. And to receive it, please welcome Jairus Gejo from CERAF Nord. Please come up.
Thank you very much. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes convaincus que la restauration et la protection du couvert végétal sont cruciales pour la lutte contre le changement climatique. Cela renforce non seulement les économies, mais également les sociétés. Mais nous pensons aussi que cela renforce aussi notre avenir. Nous travaillons dans une zone qui est, je dirais, très accent à... Excusez-moi, c'est l'émotion. À une zone qui est confrontée à la pauvreté, aux migrations humaines, au changement climatique. Très souvent, les actions des peuples riverains aux aires protégées sont souvent en contradiction avec les objectifs de conservation du gouvernement. Alors ici, j'aimerais remercier l'ensemble de l'équipe du CERAF Nord, dont le travail acharné et la volonté inébranlable nous a conduits à ce moment. Je lance aussi également, je montre notre gratitude envers nos partenaires, les parties prenantes et les sympathisants qui ont cru à notre mission, qui ont soutenu notre travail et qui aujourd'hui également nous ont donné beaucoup de conseils inestimables. Nous sommes profondément reconnaissants à Ashden d'avoir reconnu notre travail devant un bassin de candidats exceptionnels. Ce prix prestigieux que nous avons ici aujourd'hui est une source d'inspiration pour nous et cela va nous permettre de repousser toujours nos limites dans notre quête de recherche de solutions durables, innovantes et résilientes pour les générations présentes et futures. Je vous remercie.
Thank you so much. Woo! Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. And massive congratulations to the team at CEREFNOR. Now, the next award is for Future Farmers. Now, this is supported by the Garfield Weston Foundation, and the winner, based quite a long way from Cameroon, in the Cotswolds, is promoting traditional regenerative farming practices. It's Farm Ed. Let's see their film.
Are the old ways the future for UK farmers? Today's farming relies on chemical fertilisers, and although this increases crop yields, it damages our soils, trees, water and wildlife. It's damaging the land, the soil health, and is responsible for significant carbon emissions. Farm Ed in the Cotswolds is showing how we can do things differently.
It's fundamental that we change this system because we cannot go on as business as usual in the long term. We have to do two things. One, stop emitting greenhouse gases, and two, find ways to sequester carbon back into the soil. Wheat is the biggest annual crop in the UK. There's 5 million acres of it. On the one hand, nitrogen fertilisers produce a lot of food. They do increase the yield of crops. But on the other hand, they're not putting any carbon back into the soil. And a traditional farming system of old, for probably 400 generations, has worked on the principle of putting organic matter back into the soil. And we're not doing that any longer, and that's a real worry because the organic matter is the life in the soil, and without that, we don't have any food.
A mixed and traditional approach to farming is more natural and doesn't push the soil to a point where it loses its ability to grow food. Success can also bring increased yields, lower input costs, resilience to climate instability, and healthier livestock.
I think we all agree that we are in a global crisis environmentally, and our food systems are broken. And Farm Ed is a brilliant way of actually just showing people how you can do something different in a place where you can then continue that conversation.
For us here at Farm Ed, we start with our own patch. You know, we know the world has global problems, but for us it's about doing small things here on this soil.
At Farm Ed, you can see how lots of different and sustainable farming methods can work together to improve biodiversity. Growing clover amongst your traditional wheat crop, for example. Introducing crop rotations, orchards with an incredible 250 species of fruit trees, grazing livestock, bees, wildflower field margins, natural flood management, and much more.
Farm Ed is a place where people can come, join in the conversation. There's no judgment here. We try to be very neutral so people can come along, learn from each other, and see what can be done.
Central to Farm Ed's model is to provide education on regenerative and agroecological farming methods. As well as exciting developments for the young farmers of tomorrow, Farm Ed aims to be truly inclusive, reaching people from across the farming community. Nearly 4 in 10 UK farmers are over the age of 65, so it really is about skilling up, no matter your vintage.
This isn't just a sunflower crop. This has got 20 different species in. It's brilliant for pollen and nectar for insects, great for birds, for the seed it produces. And if you're thinking of future farming, think diversity. That is the solution we're looking for.
There are solutions for a greener future, and support for farmers in the UK is developing, however slowly. Education is key to changing minds and attitudes, and Farm Ed is equipping UK farmers with the tools they need to implement more sustainable methods to help in the fight against climate change.
So, to present the Ashden Awards for Future Farmers, please welcome Ashden trustee Agamemnon Otero, and to receive the award, Ian Wilkinson from Farm Ed. Please come on up. Bring it with you if you want.
Thank you, Ashden. Thank you, Garfield Weston, for your support, and thank you, all of you, for your support from all of us in the room. So, the big question is, how do we farm to produce our food that we all depend on without wrecking the planet? I've been involved in farming for 40 years. I'm sort of an era. I'm not quite the average age, but I'm getting there. And I've followed the policy, like many of us have, which has been for more production, more yield, more economic growth, etc. And we've singularly delivered that. But I've also witnessed the loss of soil quality, the organic matter, the carbon. I've seen the greenhouse gas emissions going up, nitrous oxide and methane, and biodiversity loss. And the bad news is, and I don't want to make you cry, but there's another 3 billion people coming, and we're already plateauing on yield. So that's really concerning. And look, we all eat food, of course we do, but we've become disconnected from the farmers that grow it for us. And that's a real barrier to change. For me, the solution is reconnection. You've seen on this film, this amazing film, the Farm Ed team, with people coming to Farm Ed to see what farming does now, what it could do in the future, and how people that come to the farm can help a transition in the future. Knowledge is everything. And the key to knowledge, it lies in this very room. It's you, it's the movers and shakers, it's the journalists, the correspondents. Visit Farm Ed, the fields, and tell others. It's the NGOs and the businesses. Bring your teams, inspire them to help them to make change. It's the funders, and thank you funders, please consider funding this sort of work. It's so important to us. And the singers. Sing. Thank you so much, Sam. Sing about the fact we can change farming and the way it's practiced for the better for everyone, including the farmers. And the good news is we are only 1 hour from Paddington. So my call to you tonight is please come and visit us. We are probably the closest Ashden winner, just.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Agamemnon, and congratulations to Farm Ed. And don't worry, I only cry at solutions. So our final Regenerative Economy Award this evening is the Ashden Award for Local Nature Recoverers. What a fantastic name for an award, Local Nature Recoverers, which is supported by the Lund Trust. And the winners are restoring local rivers to save London from flooding, of which I am very grateful. They are Thames 21 and Enfield Council. Let's take a look at their work.
Can a river save a city from flooding? In the UK, flooding is on the rise, along with polluted waterways, biodiversity loss, and increasing risk to public health. Millions of people are being affected across rural areas and in UK cities. Time is running out, and we have to take action. In one London borough, we are seeing how this can be done, with communities coming together with the help of the council and making tangible change.
We started working with Thames 21 about 10 years ago. A lot of Enfield's urban rivers were in a really poor state. Thames 21 were interested in helping us to look at opportunities to restore those rivers. That led to an initial kind of delivery of about 3 or 4 wetlands projects around Enfield, which were so successful in terms of what they achieve, in terms of reducing the impact of urban pollution, but also really positively received by the public. So empowering local people is incredibly important because they're like our eyes and ears on these sites. They see these problems first, and if they know what's causing the problem or what the solution might be, they can contact us, they can contact Thames 21. This particular project actually protects around 400 local properties from flooding. If it did happen, it would have a huge impact on this community, affecting probably well over 1,000 people.
These Londoners are showing that cities and nature do not have to be at odds with each other, but most importantly are working together to tackle the effects of climate change.
We see these really dramatic increases in water quality because of the wetland. So the water flows very slowly through these really complex vegetated environments, and that removes huge amounts of pollution.
And it's not just the urban areas that are getting attention. There are projects happening across the borough and they are all connected.
So the woodland and the ponds that we're creating here in the more rural parts of the borough have a direct impact on the urban parts of the borough. So when we get a big rainfall event, it's less likely to flood down in places like Edmonton in the more urban parts of the borough.
As wildlife starts to thrive in these environments, people are too, stepping up as tree planters, vegetation managers, river cleaners, and citizen scientists. This community of protectors and advocates are at the core of this work.
So I live literally opposite the wetlands, and when I first came to the area, this was a field, there was nothing here, and it's evolved into what it is, and my kids use it on a weekly, if not daily basis, and it just lets kids be kids.
With new ponds, wetlands, roadside planting to reduce pollution, and over 130,000 trees planted in 80 hectares of new woodlands, the land is being transformed.
It's quite hard for kids to link the wider climate change issue to what is in their everyday life. They can't relate to the Amazon rainforest, whereas they can relate to coming here, making a difference here, which I try to explain is going to feed into that wider village.
As we all look for solutions to the global challenges we face in the threat of climate change, Thames 21 and Enfield Council are showing us on a local level what can and must be done.
So, here to present the award for local nature recoverers is Ashden trustee Louise Marix-Evans, and to collect the prize, please welcome on stage Sam Bentley-Toone from Thames 21 and Ian Russell from Enfield Council. Come on up.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. It's so amazing to be here, and it's a real honour to win this award in recognition of all the hard work that we've put in over many years. Enfield Council and Thames 21 are very different organisations, but we've managed to forge a partnership where we can combine our skills and achieve outcomes that we never imagined were possible at the start of this programme. We've created woodlands, we've constructed wetlands, we've restored rivers, and these projects are incredibly rewarding to work on, but they're never easy, otherwise I guess everyone would be doing them. Along the way, we always face hurdles, often almost to the point of tears, and usually at the planning stage. But what it requires is, whole teams of really dedicated, passionate people to make them work. And we're lucky that quite a lot of those people are here today. I'm also lucky to work for a very progressive council with a vision to restore nature and give people opportunities to interact with it. And that covers very diverse communities across Enfield, some very deprived areas as well as more affluent areas. And really it's the people that make these projects successful. It's the communities, and especially the friends groups, some of whom are here tonight, that make this possible. Thousands of volunteers I want to reserve my biggest thanks for. So I'll hand over to Sam.
Thanks, Ian. It's been an honour to work with the visionary Enfield Council Watercourses team. We at Thames 21 have worked alongside them over the last 10 years to create a borough that's thriving, that's bursting with thriving blue-green spaces. I've had the privilege to get stuck in on the ground and in the rivers with the incredible communities of Enfield, acting together for climate change resilience and biodiversity. The Friends of Enfield Chase, the Pims Brookers, the Friends of First Farm Wetlands, I know they're all here today, and I hope they know that this award is as much for them as it is for us. Finally, I want to say that the collaboration between Enfield Council, Thames 21 and the communities of Enfield is far from over. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm really excited to see what we can achieve together.
Thank you, Louise, and congratulations to Thames 21 and Enfield Council. Now, I'm sure you've loved these little films. This is usually what makes me cry, is these little films. But actually, there's something that perhaps you don't know about the voice that is narrating them. Perhaps it might have sounded slightly familiar, because actually the narrator is here with us tonight, and Tori Choi, our narrator, is also a very well-known climate justice activist, an organizer, a writer, a consultant, and a speaker. And so the voice that's on the film is in the room. So Tori, will you come up here and join me, because I have a couple of questions to ask you. Tori Choi.
Hello, Solly. Hey, Tori.
This is a little bit of a reunion for Tori and I. Now, Tori, when I opened, I talked about the power of storytelling and these incredible stories that we've already heard in this room. Now, you get to meet and engage with some of the most incredible organizations and individuals in your role as an activist. Tell me a story about one of them.
Well, I'm going to quickly start by giving a big shout out to Sam Lee, who is a clear demonstrator of just how powerful storytelling and music is. So, you know, that's a good place to start. But I wanted to kind of go back to an event that I went to in London last year. And I listened to a journalist, a Pakistani journalist called Huma Yousaf, who spoke about, you know, the disasters that were happening in Pakistan with the floods, where we saw a third of the country underwater. And, you know, she was recounting her experiences when talking to a journalist who was working on the ground while the flooding was taking place. And she left us with a story that really still sticks with me to this day, that, in fact, almost finds a way to humanize and also make the experiences of those in other countries relatable to us. And she spoke about how the person described the flooding as, you know, up to a certain level. You can use numerical figures to describe how high these levels of flooding are, but she actually related it to something that we probably all know, which is a telephone pole. And she said the floods were as high as a telephone pole. And that stuck with me, as I'm sure you can imagine, because it's very hard for us to sometimes understand what it means to be in a place and to not be in a place and, you know what's happening there. And so that, for me, was one story that stuck with me. But I'm going to also quickly share a little story about something that you said to me in New York, Solly, which was that not all the work that we do now will we realize the impacts of. And I recall you were speaking specifically about 1.5 degrees and saying, you know, I never thought in my lifetime that this would be spoken about. But, you know, having that expectation that, you know, it won't be necessarily witnessed in my lifetime was really consoling for me. But then also the story that you shared that we are talking about this now is really empowering. And I think shows that there's momentum and this is only going to continue.
Thank you, and I didn't know you were going to say that, but it's something which really I think about quite a lot, is that story that wise people plant trees they know they're not going to sit under. And that actually, if we're waiting for the climate to validate the work that we do, we're going to end up angry and bitter. Yeah. Whereas actually, if we do this work because it's the right thing to do, and sort of then let the world take care of itself, then... And exactly. one of the things that these stories inspire me about isn't necessarily just the incredible impact that they have, but the people. Right. That it's the people who do this work who are inspiring. And you know, again, you've met so many wonderful, wonderful people in your work. What do you think makes a great change maker?
I love that question because I feel like so much of what the awardees are demonstrating is a testament to that. And the first thing is working in community. Change isn't going to be achieved by one individual alone. And I certainly know that in the climate space, we like to uphold sole individuals and tout them as the solutions to what are ultimately very complex problems. But the reality is that really change comes from us working together. It comes from collaboration. It comes from collective practice. And I feel like the winners tonight are a clear demonstration of that. The other thing is to make sure that you are guided by the pursuit of justice, whatever that looks like to you. You know, you're here to change something that is ultimately perhaps quite unjust. And I think that, again, a lot of the winners are here to rectify systems and things that aren't necessarily fair or just. And something that I am really excited to talk to you about is to not be guided by the pursuit of perfection. I think that can really stop us in our tracks and often make us feel quite overwhelmed with the task at hand. And also, like you were saying, to not feel overwhelmed that perhaps what you're doing now won't necessarily be realized until the future. And the last thing that I want to share, again, really seeing this in some of the videos that we've seen so far, is to think global but to act local. You know, we have the most impact possible on our local environments, but we have to frame that within a global context. And I really, really appreciate what Ashok was saying about making sure that we're also championing solutions in the global south. Those who are hardest hit by the climate crisis also need our support and our momentum behind what they're doing.
I love that. And you brought so many different parts of what we need to do together there. I want to just come to this point of perfectionism. I actually had a t-shirt made for myself that says bad environmentalist that I sometimes wear to events so I can get it out there first, that I'm far from perfect. And so many people, I think, feel that to have a right to talk about this or to a right to make change, they have to be living this perfect environmental life. And it always makes me reflect on, and I'm sorry, I'm going to misgive the quote, but the fact that we need millions of people doing this badly rather than a few people doing it perfectly. So particularly in the youth climate movement, sort of how do you deal with that sort of need to be perfect as an environmentalist?
Firstly, can I have one of those shirts too?
I'll get one for you.
It's funny you mentioned that because I actually call myself a bad activist, and along with some comrades, I founded this organization called Bad Activist Collective. And you know, the sort of manifesto and what we stand by is that we are all here to show up imperfectly because imperfection is part of our humanity. And secondly, we want to reiterate that our imperfections aren't necessarily something that detract from our accountability and our willingness to show up and to be teachable and to unlearn when we fall short. And for me, that's something that I think is so important in climate work because honestly, I've just found that we get distracted by the small things when we have some really big issues in front of us. And I find that it's more beneficial to my work and to my energy to focus on what I can do than what I can't. And to also recognize that it is impossible to be perfect in an imperfect world, fundamentally. And, you know, I've seen it happen to so many climate activists, people nitpicking, like, I'm sure we all saw that picture of Greta with, you know, some plastic on a train and people were like, oh my God, look, she's got plastic. And I just thought, well, what has she done as well? Think about the things she has done for this movement. Why are we so quick to lambast people for using things that are ultimately what are available to them at the time, as opposed to all the incredible things that they've done? And I think that bias is something we have to check ourselves on.
I love that. I often think sort of my imperfection is no excuse for inaction. And sometimes people sort of make the case that they're not perfect and therefore they don't raise voice.
Exactly. So that's why we have to be accountable to not only ourselves, but to each other.
So I want to make sure we get a moment to talk about your book. So Troy's written a wonderful, wonderful book that I really need you to get, which is called It's Not Just You. And it's about mental health and the climate crisis. Now, I remember being somewhat younger and sitting in the back of this room and crying because I was seeing solutions for the first time. And all I was seeing elsewhere was this problem. And that's a situation we're still in. We know that a significant proportion of young people are fatalistic, let alone anxious about this. So, you know, what advice would you give to people in this room who are trying to handle the anxiety and stress of these issues?
First thing I'd say is, after you've read my book, read Solly's book. Because she focuses on the solutions, and those are things which are incredibly important, as we know, as we've seen, and can really drive us towards, you know, creating change and feeling empowered as well. You know, I don't think there's a silver bullet solution for how to deal with the complexities of being unwell in a time of climate breakdown. But one thing that I have to keep coming back to is, if you're going to be unwell, don't be unwell alone. Because I really feel like the times that I've managed to pull myself out of a dark place and kind of the times where I felt, oh, is it really worth it? I've been surrounded by people who are like, no, come on, we're going to keep working on this. We're going to keep doing this, and we're going to take care of each other. I feel like in a world where we have so much individualized care, now is the time to really turn ourselves towards one another and take care of each other too. And the communities that I've had, and I've found through the climate movement, I don't know if you feel the same, Solly, but you know, that's kind of what's held me in my darkest days, but also held me accountable. So I feel very, very inclined to say, if you're going to find a way to take action, make sure you do it in community, and these people will become like family to you, and they will hold you in your darkest days, and they will also hold you accountable.
Tori, thank you so very much. You hold me in my dark space and you hold me accountable. So can we all thank Tori so, so very much. Okay, the tears are growing, the emotion is building, and particularly now it's time to hear from our final group of winners, those who are powering a fairer future. As Tori just so wonderfully outlined, the necessity to centre justice. Our next award is the Ashden Award for Energy Innovation, supported by Impacts Asset Management. The winner has found an ingenious way to fund energy efficiency upgrades to UK homes. So let's see how the Housing Association's Charitable Trust is tackling such an urgent challenge.
Can carbon credits keep us warm this winter? To create a zero-carbon UK, 21 million houses need an upgrade to stop cold and drafty homes from leaking heat. The UK government is not moving fast enough, and current retrofit policy in the UK is not going to achieve this goal. There are, however, organisations who are working to improve the situation despite government inaction. Carbon credit schemes are growing in popularity, with UK-based organisations buying up to 14.8 million tonnes worth of carbon credits in 2021. However, most of these were purchased abroad in the Global South, and this is where HACT are doing things differently.
If you want to decarbonise by purchasing offset credits, but you also want to support your local communities in the UK, retrofit credits is key for that. You can still reduce your carbon emissions by offsetting, but also support local communities in the UK. And that's a major plus that hasn't been available until now. Even though we don't work on the front lines with organisations and residents, we can definitely support the businesses in the actions that they take.
The government funding is very strict. The funding that we've received from the carbon credits has enabled us to do works of properties that wouldn't otherwise have been eligible.
There's a lot of questions that obviously the tenants ask about this work. A lot of our tenants haven't even heard of air source heating. There is a little bit of negativity about air source heating, but once these people have had the work done, they're more than happy.
My house was retrofitted about 5 months ago. The house is more comfortable, warmer, no damp. If it's better for me, it's better for my dog. Everything what I do is for him. I just love them too much, that's all it is.
I think now people seeing real life data coming out and seeing that actually their bills are coming down, people are now going to realise actually I'm using less, I'm more comfortable in the property as well, which is one of the key things.
The world's sort of changing for the worst, even though you'd think it's meant to change for the better. Living in a house like I'm living in is definitely a way forward. My hope is to have more homes like this, not just in England, but around the world. I think that would definitely benefit the generation and the world.
HACT also ensures that retrofit credits are properly certified and based on work that has already been carried out, so you know that your credits have made a difference. HACT is exploring how it can train local people to carry out upgrades so the credits support good green jobs too. In fact, HACT carefully measures all the ways funded work helps communities, from saving the money to engaging young people. This makes sure the credits are creating as many benefits as possible.
There are solutions out there. Even though the future is daunting, it is positive. There are many people who've come up with great innovations to be able to help towards a net zero goal, to saving our planet. The future is hopefully very bright.
Brilliant. To present the Ashden Award for Energy Innovation, please welcome Kath Bremner for Impacts, and to pick up the award, Andrew Van Dorn from HACT. Come on up. And Simon Truex from HACT's partner, PNZ Carbon. You better mention the dog.
Oh, I will. Thank you so much, Ashden, and also thank you for sponsoring the award as well. I'm really delighted to be here accepting this award on behalf of HACT and our partners, PNZ Carbon, but also here on behalf of the 22 social housing organisations who took part in our pilot, but more importantly, the residents, people like Robert and his dog, people like Harrison, who live in the homes who are being retrofitted. For us, retrofit credits is about impact. It's about how do we accelerate the retrofitting of social homes so that people on low incomes who are experiencing the worst cost of living crisis in living memory can afford to heat their homes. And whilst we can do that, how do we reduce carbon? As a result of our pilot, retrofit credits will raise, in the next 20 years, just the pilot organisations, £7 million in additional funding. That's 500 more homes that can be retrofitted. But more importantly, that's 500 families, people, who will be able to afford their heat. And whilst we do that, there'll be huge reductions in carbon. Our collaboration with PNZ Carbon places health and well-being right at the core of our approach. This matters because decarbonising homes is only one part of the story. Over 3 million households in the UK are living in fuel poverty. And with rising energy prices and the cost of living crisis, that is only going to get worse. That's why focusing on the things that improve lives, like good jobs, like affordable warmth, and place-based community renewal, are equally part of our vision. Our ambition for retrofit credits is simple: to deliver more impact. But to do that, we need more partnerships, we need more buyers, we need new financial instruments, and we need increased investment so that we can make more impact. So please come and talk to us about how you can support us to make that impact. Join with us so we can create more impact for people, for place, and ultimately for our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, and congratulations to HACT. Now, our next award is Powering Futures in Clean Energy, supported by LinkedIn. This year's winner is creating solar skills across Nigeria. So let's see how Bura Solutions Solar Academy do just that.
Can the sun solve unemployment in Nigeria?
Africa, the continent, contributes the least to climate change, but you can see that the adverse effects of climate change is being felt the most in Africa.
I come from a marginalized community in the Niger Delta, and many years we were living in darkness. I finished school, coming back to the community, it's still the same thing. Everybody is still in darkness. So this inspired me to start Bura Solutions Energy.
Bura Solutions Academy, along with partners Bury Business School and EcoFlux, is expertly training students for jobs in the solar industry. Modules include technical skills, entrepreneurship, management, and marketing.
Nigeria is a country where we have a lot of high rate of unemployment. So training young people in clean energy helps to be able to solve that problem. And the world is changing, coupled with the issues of climate change. Clean energy is very important so that we can be able to move away from our normal contemporary way of using energy to a more cleaner aspect, and that can be achieved through training.
I'm a graduate of Bura Solutions, and I am a solar engineer. Through Bura Solutions and the opportunities, the skills I have learned, it has exposed me to so many persons. Another thing is, I would say I have created employment, not just for myself, but each time I have jobs to do, I employ other hands.
Clean energy can transform communities and has the potential to create millions of new jobs. However, women, young people, and those in poverty often aren't given these opportunities.
We ensure that in every cohort that we have, a very good percentage of students are women. So we do this by probably offering incentives to them in forms of scholarships and giving them discounts for the training fee, just to attract more women to the training. So this approach is important because in the energy industry, there's a huge gender disparity. So we try to make sure we encourage more women to come into the program, because that way we help to close the gender gap that we currently have in the energy industry.
Supporting training is essential in fighting climate change, because the training you give to the trainees are not complete until they are able to make money from it. So until the skills they have can put food on their table, it's not complete.
We have so many case studies of students that have gone through this training and it has really changed the direction of their lives.
Every single day we train a new individual with a green skill. We are moving one step closer to achieving the global energy transition goals.
In order to meet the global emissions goals, we have to train people in green skills. Borough Solutions are providing opportunities and proving that we can tackle social inequality and climate change at the same time.
To present the Ashden Award for powering futures in clean energy, please welcome Jess White from LinkedIn, and to accept the award, please give a very warm welcome to Buradum Getche from Borough Solutions.
Living in Nigeria can be very, very difficult because most of the time you have limited access to electricity with high rates of unemployment. I remember one of those days when I finished school that I lost the opportunity to work for a multinational company because my phone battery was dead due to power outage in my area for 7 straight days. I cried. But then, that inspired me to start Borough Solutions Energy to make a difference. Now, the most amazing part of my work is solarafrica.com. This is an e-commerce platform that we have created where our trainees leverage on to get solar jobs. So we have trained about 300 young persons in the clean energy space, many of whom have secured employment in other organizations, while those with entrepreneurial spirit have set up business for themselves. Now we have a goal of training about 3,000 persons over the next 5 years. So we need your support in here. We need technical partnership, advanced training, and financial investment to grow what we do. Because we believe that every day we train someone with a green skill moves up a step further towards achieving a cleaner and greener future for us all. I want to thank the Ashden for this opportunity, for their credible work in recognizing effort made towards achieving a just transition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jess, and congratulations to Borough Solutions. And now we come to the Ashden Award for Integrated Energy Africa, supported by Integrate to Zero. Now, the winner, Power for All, is working with partners to pioneer a system change approach to electrification. Let's see what they're doing.
Can collaboration light up Uganda? 600 million homes in Africa do not have access to electricity. Growing sustainable grid systems are essential in distributing clean energy to communities and speeding up access to power for millions of homes. That's how Power for All's Utilities 2.0 project helped electrify the Ugandan village of Chiwumu. Normally, connections can take around 6 years, but this project has helped do it in just a few months.
My favorite story about Chiwumu is how the community or this village has been reawakened. The whole town or the whole village would go silent at about 7.
It was a dull place to stay in. It didn't have any life in the village.
But after Utilities 2.0 project came here, there was a sort of life that was given to this village. The streets are lit now, businesses open till late, there's an entertainment center, there are bars, there's music blaring. This project has given this community a bit of character. Power for All is a global coalition of over 200 partners. That collaborative aspect of our work is what makes Power for All unique.
It starts with the installation of mini-grids that provide a supply of consistent clean energy. This inspires confidence, investment, and new business.
Access to power is actually a very powerful thing in any community. You have not only given people access to energy, access to electricity, but there is other aspects that come in, like clean water. Now, parents do not have to worry that their children are going to take unboiled water.
Before we had this power and having this system, children used to fall sick by taking unboiled water.
A mini-grid like this one being set up in a community like Chiumu that previously did not have power aids planning either for the economy but also setting up social infrastructure like schools, health centers. The youths can open up welding or metal fabrication centers. Many business opportunities will crop up because with a good energy source, there's so many you can do.
As the benefits rippled through the village, the demand for power grew, leading to faster connections to the main grid. And what happened to the mini-grids that started it all? They are going on to power new sites. The Utility 2.0 project has powered up a host of businesses, as well as homes and a local school. The collaborative model of Power for All and their partners shows how fast, green energy connections can be rolled out quickly and replicated across villages, enabling communities across the continent to get connected.
For anyone watching this film, what I would like to say to you is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. So a lot can happen when we all collaborate. We join hands to extend energy access in a sustainable way.
To present the Ashden Award for Integrated Energy Africa, please welcome on stage Dan Hamza Goodacre from Integrate to Zero, and to Power for All, Christina Skerkath.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, and to Ashden for having the vision for these kinds of awards, and of course to Integrate to Zero for recognizing the importance of an integrated approach. You know, I was thinking back to the first time I experienced energy poverty, and it was during my misspent youth. I was driving in a very large truck from Colorado in the United States down to Argentina. And that's a whole nother story. You can come and see me at my stand afterwards if you want the details, but I saw firsthand the difference between a village that had access to energy and those that didn't. It's a completely different situation that so many of us here take for granted. I saw with my own eyes how energy creates power, and I'm not just talking about electrons. I'm talking about social and political power that then can be used to change the world. And the point I want to make here today is that we all can now run businesses from devices like this we hold in our hands, but nearly 1 billion people still don't have access to energy, and there's simply no excuse for it. It's not a technology problem, but it's a human problem. So if humans are part of the problem, it means we can also be part of the solution. And Utilities 2.0 today has shown that by working together, humans can significantly change the rate of access to energy. Together, we found that by combining centralized and decentralized energy, that businesses like mini-grids and rooftop solars can work together with traditional electrical systems to accelerate connections, drive demand, and improve an energy system's performance, which means new connections, new consumers get to actually enjoy greater benefits of that energy and, in fact, have a chance to change the world. But we can't affect systems change alone. It actually never is dependent on one policy, one product, or one person. It really is about partnership. And I do want to say that systems, the existing business as usual system that we've heard a lot about tonight, oftentimes wasn't created by women. And so just by simply being involved in the system in a different way, we will change business as usual. And so with that, I really want to thank in particular the women who helped make this project possible. I want to recognize Claire Bolin-Ross from GIAP. I want to recognize Florence Nsumbuga from Umeme, Rebecca Shirley, Carolina Pan, and Sumaya Mohammed, who have all been part of this female team that have really helped make this change happen. But long story short, As you can see from this screen, many of these partners involved in this show us that it is not actually anything that's ever done alone, but it's only done in community. And so I want to thank everyone, including those of you in the audience tonight, who are helping drive adoption for renewable energy access. In fact, Power for All is here to celebrate you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dan, and congratulations to Power for All. Now we come to the Ashden Award for Powering Agriculture, supported by the UK Department for Energy Security and Net Zero. Now, the winners of this award help women farmers. So they come together to grow more crops and higher incomes. From India, they are the Collectives for Integrated Livelihoods Initiatives. And let's take a look at what they've done.
Can Indian women farm the sun? The climate crisis has a greater impact on women due to gender inequality. Globally, a third of women work in agriculture, and according to one UN estimate, if all women received equal access to resources, by 2050, yields would rise by 20 to 30%.
Climate change is a phenomenon which is affecting day-to-day life of every individual, but it is showing its effect into the most vulnerable. Women in agro-based ecosystem remains vulnerable because mostly the decision-making lies in the hands of the male. Technology is woman-centric, the work that happens and the leadership is woman-led. So the centerpiece of Sini's work is woman-dominated.
मगर अभी हमारे झारखंड में जो है महिलाओं को ज़्यादा प्रोत्साहन किया जा रहा है क्योंकि महिला ही है जो एक घर को संभालती है.
Sini unites female farmers in central India, creating women-led production hubs. They support them through capacity building, training, and renewable technologies, and help them sell their crops collectively at market for a better price.
Sini has worked and has deployed close to 3,000 solar pumps. The water from the river that we are seeing is basically used to pump in water to a distance of around 500 to 600 meters and is irrigating almost 8 to 9 acres of land.
बहुत कम हो रहा है और धूप इतना ज़्यादा हो रहा है कि जो हम लगाते हैं वो सही तरह से नहीं हो पा रहा है, इसीलिए ये सोलर भी लगाना पड़ा.
थोड़ा स्थिति बहुत गंभीर स्थिति रहता है कि ना दो सोलर को जी जनाते जल बेटकले लगाता मिर्चकले लगावला नाते ने सीसी.
These local women form and lead new producer groups and get bank accounts for the first time, setting them on the road to financial independence. Sini even educates local banks so they have the confidence to lend to group members. By targeting women with this support, families are seeing increased incomes and women leaders are being supported to build their own business models.
The core of the program is to incrementally increase the income of the households by almost 4 times.
पहले से तो हम लोग उस तरह से खेती नहीं करते थे, इसलिए हम लोग 5 से 10 ही हजार सालाना इनकम होता था. अभी के मौसम में हम लोग जब खेती करते हैं, सालों भर खेती करते हैं, तो 1 से 1.5 लाख से.
ये खाता आपके खाते में आता है या हस्बैंड के खाते में आता है?
ये हमारे खाते में आता है सर.
Technology solutions around decentralized renewable energy empowers women. This not only has an effect at a micro level, this addresses the question of climate change.
अभी पहचान बन चुका है कि दीदी एक है जो वहाँ बिसना में दीदी है जो खेती बाड़ी करती है और पहले के स्तर में अभी का जीवन स्तर उसका बहुत अच्छा ही हो गया.
Giving women the tools to be green innovators and empowered entrepreneurs is essential to combating the climate crisis. Sini, its partners and the community are creating the structural change we desperately need to make sustainable, lasting progress.
To present the Ashden Award for Powering Agriculture, please welcome back on stage Kate Dowen from the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero and from Sini Ganashni Lem.
Thank you everybody. I think the video said everything that I had to say. And it's really very heartening to see the way the video has come out. And it's mainly the work that we have done with the communities that we are able to showcase to all of you. So a sincere thank to the women that you could see in the video, because it's their energy that is giving that inspiration for us to work along with them and see how we can enhance their livelihoods. For us, we see these women as pioneers of looking at how income security could be achieved. And with that income security, they can actually enable the children to get better education, look at the healthcare related issues with the income in their hands to look at. And that's been an inspiration for us as an organization to continue the work with the women and see how we can further empower them through various solutions and technologies. Now, if you look at our work on renewable energy, we have been able to very nicely integrate the decentralized renewable energy solutions in the improved agriculture practices. So how do we make agriculture sustainable from a long-term perspective? And while doing that, we are also empowering the communities to address a lot of climate-related challenges that they are seeing in the villages on a day-to-day basis. So that's been an approach for us as an organization over the years. We sincerely thank the Ashden team and the department for the kind support and guidance. The Ashden team has really been very, very supportive to us in the last few years of our journey, last few months of our journey. And we hope we continue this journey with the Ashden team from a long-term perspective. Finally, we would like to thank the supporters and the donors, especially Tata Trust over here, because they have been supporting us to do this work on the ground with the communities on a regular basis. So that's been a really heartening journey for us as an organization, and we hope to get all your support to continue the journey from a long-term perspective. Thank you very much, everybody.
Our next award is the Ashden Award for Powering Refugees and Displaced People. Now, it's supported by a group of really lovely organisations, but quite a few of them. So, Next Energy, the Lindbury Trust, the JAC Trust, and the Alan and Babette Sainsbury Charitable Fund, and the Global Returns Project. What a brilliant group. Now, the award is delivered with the Global Refugee-led Network. And the winner, Usafi Green Energy, is tackling air pollution and deforestation in Kenya's Kakuma refugee camp. Let's see their work.
Can a problem plant clean up cooking for refugees? Smoke from open cooking fires and polluting stoves kills millions of people every year. Refugees are among those in greatest danger. But in Kenya's Kakuma refugee camp, home to 250,000 refugees, Usafi Green are helping residents to manufacture a homegrown solution.
Basically, Usafi Green has 5 main issues that you're tackling or we're trying to mitigate. Number 1 is respiratory illness, whereby we provide clean and efficient cook stoves.
Locally made cooking stoves from Usafi Green Energy protect people's health, create jobs, and even help deal with invasive prosopis trees that dry out local land and harm cattle. Now communities can turn the nuisance plant into a useful fuel in the form of briquettes, which can be burned cleanly in their stoves. And with Usafi's free seedlings, they can play their part in reforestation.
We provide free seedlings. Our aim is to have 1 home, 1 seedlings policy of our intervention. So you can imagine from the 21,000 households, we aim to impact 21,000 households to have seedlings. So we are tackling the clean energy index problem and also the climate change, whereby we provide free seedlings so as to increase our forest cover.
Usafi Green are not only cleaning up cooking and restoring forests, they are providing employment opportunities which can be few and far between for refugees.
Life in Kakuma is not easy. As we, the host communities and the refugees, getting a job is not an easy task. You have to go through a lot to get a job. Usafi has created room for employment to make life easy to the community.
You must gain some trust to the refugees, because these are people we understand they have come from a very dark side of the world. So for them to trust somebody, they need to trust your product, believe in you, and also engage with you with time. Also, we aim to reduce what we call the afternoon lessons, whereby young girls mostly miss because of being sent to go and fetch firewood. So we tend to use our distributor as a way of trying to have the product affordable and available near them. We need to empower women to earn something in the refugees and the host community, in making the briquettes and also earning a living from it.
I'm proud of myself, of the job that we do here, how we have grown as a company, the jobs we have created. Yeah, I'm proud of everything with the company.
I'm proud of making a change in my community and also supporting the refugees, because personally I'm passionate of trying to create a change. My aim is to target close to 100,000 a household in the refugees and the host communities by 2026, create employment through training more women within the host community and the refugees.
I'm seeing opportunities ahead. I'm gaining knowledge. I'm interacting with different people. I'm learning their ways of living. I'm learning things here that I can see in the future I'll be able to be a different person. Yes.
Okay. To present the Ashden Award for Powering Refugees and Displaced People, please welcome on stage Stuart Hobley from Limbury Trust and winner Brian Onyango from Usafi Green Energy.
Wow. In 2021, we applied and we never made it. In 2022, we applied and we never made it. And in 2023, here we are. It's an inspiration to many, especially to the Kakuma family. You can see how we have a very huge, big family, and it's a huge inspiration. And I'm glad that Dr. Ashok have aired out a very big concern when it comes to some funds that have not been released to Global South. And in particular, it's called Loss and Damage Fund, if I got you right. This particular fund is highly needed down to the Global South because we lack resources that will help us reduce access to clean energy and improve the livelihoods of the refugees. As a Kenyan born in Nairobi, one of the richest capital cities in Kenya, I decided to go and live in Kakuma, one of the poorest towns in Kenya, just because I saw there was a need and a gap to be addressed in a refugee camp. Global South plays a very huge role when it comes to refugee camp. Actually, it hosts the largest refugee camps across the world. But what are we trying to do to address this particular group of people? These are our brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. They lack access to clean energy, but no one speaks about them. All what you see is resources to just do what you call the self-defense. But until when will we stop talking about 1.2 billion people around the world lack access to clean energy? But in this data, we have the refugees. They are forgotten communities. I stand before you here to speak for the voiceless, and we will fight for the voiceless, and we will champion the voiceless. Thank you.
Woo! Okay. Right. So that made me well up. And I just have to stop here to give a little bit of a plug if you want to support this work, because I think many of you watching that will have thought, how can I help with this incredible work? So you can actually give to Ashden's Refugee Energy Appeal. So search online, go onto your phone and search for Ashden Radio 4 Appeal. Ashden Radio 4 Appeal. Now, looking out on this audience, I suspect a few of them might listen to Radio 4. So, next time you turn Radio 4 on, if you haven't given, turn it off. So, just a little reminder there. So, thank you so much, and so many congratulations to all of those wonderful, wonderful winners who are powering a fairer future. I grew up in energy poverty, and the absolute necessity for energy to help change lives I experienced in my own life. That's why I'm standing up here on this stage, was because I got access to energy. It's so, so important, the work that is being done, so please do give to that appeal. Now, we have one last winner for you, and this one's a little bit different. Now, they won their first Ashden Award in 2011, which means I've probably already cried about them. And we're delighted to have them back again tonight, because in the last decade since they won, they have powered up their impact to reach so many more people and communities. And so much so that we are honouring them with an Ashden Award for Outstanding Achievement. So let's hear about this extraordinary journey.
What does it look like when Ashden winners really shine? In 2011, Husk Power Systems won an Ashden Award for their inspiring work in India electrifying rural communities with mini-grids. Since then, we have watched Husk skyrocket, becoming the world's largest mini-grid operator. Looking back at Husk's journey, we can see what a catalytic impact investment can have on making positive change around the globe. After winning their Ashden Award, Husk continued to innovate, adopting AI and IoT and introducing other services like appliance sales and finance to provide people and businesses with a supply of electricity around the clock and the means to use it. Putting people first was core to Husk's mission as they focused on local economic development and creating good jobs. Having successfully delivered huge impact in India, Husk's work didn't stop there. They confidently expanded into other markets like Nigeria, where their Sunshot initiative aims to provide energy access to 2 million rural Nigerians by 2026. In 2023, Husk raised over $100 million to support their growth in India and in sub-Saharan Africa. All this and more is why Ashden is presenting Husk with an Outstanding Achievement Award. Husk is truly a community-focused organisation who insists that clean and modern energy can and should be available to all.
Massively well done. So please welcome on stage Ashden's founder, chair of the trustees, an all-round awesome person, Sarah Butler-Sloss, who will hand over the trophy, and picking up the prize, William Brent from Husk Power Systems. Come on up.
I was joking before I got up here earlier this morning that I should do a celebration jig if I won, and I figure if we started with a song, maybe I actually have to deliver on a jig. As you might tell from my accent, I'm an American. I have no idea how to do a jig, but I'm going to do one. So maybe. Worst jig ever, I'm sure. So, of course, we're thrilled to be named a recipient of the Outstanding Achievement Award. I can guarantee you that life at Husk Power has not always been outstanding. In fact, we pioneered our industry 15 years ago, and about half of companies that are first movers typically fail. And in the mid-2010s, we got close to being in that position. We had a leadership vacuum. We had a business model that didn't work, frankly, and we were short on capital. But thanks to our CEO and co-founder, thanks to dedicated staff and a small group of visionary funders and partners, we made it. And we got through our valley of death, and we're here today. And I just want us to take one more opportunity to celebrate that journey, because I think it's common, and it's worth one more round of applause. So thank you to Ashden for being one of those visionaries and supporting us throughout. I'd like to just finish by saying, you know, I think our development agenda globally is at a crossroads right now. Development finance institutions, climate finance institutions lack the risk that they're supposed to have as part of their mandate. Governments are still often too reliant on legacy thinking. And for me personally, and it's been talked about a lot this evening, partnership is virtually absent. And from my point of view, SDG 17, which is the last SDG, actually should be the first. Without partnership, we won't be able to all become outstanding, which I think is the goal. So more risk, more partnership, collaboration, and you know, I think together we can achieve outstanding results for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Sarah, and massive congratulations to Husk and to every single one of the 2023 winners. Your passion, your ingenuity, your commitment, your heart are so inspiring. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this evening, and you've seen a lot of questions up there opening so many of the videos. And of course, there's one big outstanding question, which is, what will make Solly cry next year? So this is where all of you come in. The entries are open now, and to reflect what Ashok said earlier, we need all of you to get people applying. Share this news with any amazing climate innovators that you know, with your professional networks, with your funders, associations, community groups, friends. Even just a quick email or social media post could literally change the future for an organisation. It's welcome. People want to know about this work. So you could do it in the bath tonight, you could do it on the way home, send people to ashden.org. And just whilst we've got you, let's talk about Let's Go Zero, which again Ashok also mentioned. Now this is a coalition campaign that has been launched by Ashden, working to make all UK schools zero carbon by 2030. The campaign includes the OVO Foundation Nature Prize. Now this one closes in just 2 weeks, so you need to move fast. The prize is given to schools, colleges and even nurseries, the chance to win up to £1,000 to bring their green project to life. They might be plotting a new allotment, a sensory garden or a wildlife haven. So please let your local school know, 2 weeks, because bluntly, stories of little children doing climate action is going to get the waterworks going, and we need that. Find out more at letsgozero.org or visit the Let's Go Zero stand, which is out there in the drinks reception. And talking of drinks receptions, that's it. It is time. Thank you so very much. Welcome all the winners back on stage with Ashok for a group photo. And the rest of you, go and enjoy, meet the winners, talk to each other. Thank you, thank you, thank you.